Joshua Tiemann asks, Bill, where have all the adults gone? Did the culture of decadence and maturity is a myth, so don't feel bad when you fail? After all, everyone is perfect just the way they are. That's a lot of hyphens. Did it cycle all of our adults out? The under 30 crowd being an example, it seems, is becoming rarer and rarer to find someone who's emotionally secure in life and death. That's an interesting statement. And able to face ridicule, pain, and suffering gracefully without breaking. I feel like I've been piling on the millennials lately, and I don't want to do that. But it is true. They are emotionally less able to deal with hardship than those that came before them. And I heard somebody say something, I think I might have mentioned this a week or two ago. Basically saw this article that was kind of saying the millennials are, it was about a woman who's 40 years old and she won't get a job, and thought of her, she's talking about it to her psychiatrist, 30 rather, and talking to her therapist, and the guy says, well, maybe she should just go get a job. She just burst into tears. She says, I can't do my laundry and study at the same time. I don't know how. 30 years old. I can't get a job. I'm going to have to see if I can find a way to apply for some more student aid and get another degree because I can't face the world. And so that was an article, and everybody was bashing the millennials in the comment section. And this one millennial kid got up there. And at first I thought, typical. He's like whining and complaining, and he's not accepting responsibility. But the kid's point, I think, really moved me. He basically said, what do you expect of us? Who do you think made us? Who do you think built us? It's not our fault that we can't handle this stuff. You're the ones who never, who gave us all of this precious snowflake stuff. And I think the guy's absolutely right. I think he's absolutely right to be angry and upset about it. I don't want to get into the discussion we had before because it was a long and epic discussion about the generations and how I think that the short form is, this is my take on it, is that the greatest generation, the World War II generation, came home. Guys like my dad came home, seen their buddies turn to jelly, and they didn't want any more loud noises, and they didn't want any more trouble, and they just wanted to sit back and relax and have a scotch and watch some TV and the things that they saw, both through the Depression as young people. As I said, the only time I ever saw my dad cry was when he was talking about watching people eat out of a garbage can in the Depression. The things that they saw as kids and then the things that they saw as young adults in World War II meant that they had been completely traumatized. They all had, I think all of them as a generation had post-traumatic stress syndrome. So they come home and they have families and they don't talk to their wives. They never mention what happened in the war. They don't talk about anything. They talk occasionally with their war buddies, but they don't talk about that. They don't talk to their kids. They keep this emotional distance. God knows they earned it. What happened to them over there. And so they came back and they were good providers and not terribly great fathers in terms of the emotional support. Not nearly as good fathers as they themselves had, I think. They just checked out. And so I think their children, that's my generation and the Gen Xers, are now the parents of the millennials. And what we want to do is we don't want to be Mr. Stern guy who doesn't do anything, never see any love. It's just get off of this. Don't make me count to three. What are you trying to do? Heat all of outdoors. And so our generation, I think, which have been fairly, I'm speaking in the broadest generalities, okay? But our generation, which had pretty emotionally distant dads, decided we're not going to be emotionally distant to our kids. And what we've done is we've gone too far. We've decided that we're going to be their buddies. Hey, buddy, how many times have I been on an airplane or been in a Toys R Us and seen some child having a temper tantrum? And a grown man, instead of saying, you are going to stop this, and if you don't stop this, I'm going to count to three, and if I count to three, you are not going to like the consequences. Behave yourself. They won't do it because they hear their dad's voice there, you see. So what they do is some 4-year-old or 3-year-old kid doesn't even have the neurons to understand what's going on, who just wants to be told what the limits are. And they say, now, buddy, didn't we talk about this, about what's appropriate and what's not appropriate? Didn't we talk about how this is disruptive and how it's not really... And he's trying to reason with a 4-year-old. They don't have the ability to reason themselves out of a paper bag. A 4-year-old kid will have a face full of chocolate chip cookies and have brown chocolate all over them. Did you take the cookies? No. You can't reason with these little animals. You've got to straighten them out. You got to discipline them, and they won't do it. And so the millennials are victims of their parents. So everybody wanted to be nice. Hey, buddy, how's it going? Hey, buddy, how you doing, pal? Oh, yeah. No, sometimes you have to be mean if you're going to be a parent. Sometimes you have to be mean and hard. And single moms have it hard because they have to be mean and they have to be nice. We had all this conversation before. Joshua. So I don't blame them, but it's true. They've never, since everything has been handled for them, and since no one's ever been mean to them, and since we can't have bullying, and you're not allowed to lose a baseball game because you may feel bad if you lose, so we won't keep score, or we won't cheer, we won't root, and so they've never had to deal with it. They didn't have to deal with it when they were 10 or 20. Now they're 30 and they haven't had to deal with it. So, we made them that way, and we didn't do them any favors, obviously. And, for those of you who don't know who Pajama Boy is, I was on the road when I saw this. Barack Obama personally, the president's Twitter account, said, "Hey, what are you doing for the holidays? Why don't you go home and have a Christmas and talk to your family about signing up for Obamacare? Isn't that a swell thing to do, Mr. President? Politicize everything, politicize Thanksgiving, politicize Christmas. Go home and sit around the Christmas tree and talk to your family about how important it is that they sign up for Obamacare." And the picture they had was this guy in, I have to get a picture of him. It's just, there's no way to describe it. I know most of you know who he is, but give me a second here. Is it Pajama Boy? There he is. So this is the guy that Barack Obama's official account tweeted out as you. This is how he looks at the American people. This is their view. And so he got called Pajama Boy. And if there's somebody, I don't know, I don't remember who said it. But they said, and I completely agree, there's something about this guy, and I don't know what it is exactly, that makes me want to slug him. Everybody wants to slug this dude. I know it's a horrible thing to say, but it's just true. They just want to slug him. Hang on a second. Give me 1 second here. Here's Pajama Boy. So this was put out by the president, and basically it said, "Wear pajamas, drink hot chocolate, talk about getting health insurance over Christmas." So this is the person who the White House thinks is you. This is what they think the American people. This is a representative of the American people. It's a man-child wearing a one-piece flannel thing, sitting there holding a cup of coffee with this smirky look on his face. And it's like, honestly, this is what they think is gonna improve the image. I don't know what to say about this, except for the fact that it's another sign of how clueless these people are. That this guy would be hey, do this. This is what we want. This is what we think of you. This is the modern American male to the progressive elite, to the president of the United States. The president of the United States thinks this is what American men are. I mean, good God in heaven, could you find somebody douchier looking? Is there anybody on the face of the earth that you just want to slap more than this guy? Mostly for his own good? Seriously, dude, join the Marines. Honestly, somebody, Andrea Kent said it's been proposed that this is actually Rachel Maddow. Yeah, exactly. I mean, honest to God, the first thing I thought of the second I thought this, the second I thought this, saw this guy, I thought, oh, C.S. Lewis, man. C.S. Lewis, we make men without chests and expect from them virtue and enterprise. We laugh at honor and are shocked to find traitors in our midst. I don't think this guy understands the meaning of the word honor. I don't think this guy understands virtue or enterprise. I think this guy is the most self-centered, douchey little narcissistic weenie. And this is what the President of the United States thinks the American people will connect to. I don't know to what degree I'm a steely-eyed missile man is, but if you don't know what a steely-eyed missile man means, it's an aviation term. I use it all the time. If you don't know what a steely-eyed missile man is, then this is the polar opposite of what a steely-eyed missile man is. All of those test pilots, all of those astronauts, all of those flight directors, all of those people that went to the moon and did all of the miracles that make our lives happen. Guys like Howard Hughes and Grumman and Northrop and all these guys. They're steely-eyed missile men. They're the polar opposite of this dude. Polar opposite. And this is the kind of country that Barack Obama wants. He wants a country of dependent adult children. Your child can stay on your insurance policy under Obamacare until he's 26. He's a 26-year-old child. Child. And when we have a nation of children, what do children want? Children want to be taken care of. Who do they want to be taken care of by? Well, they can't be taken care of by themselves. They get taken care of by their parents. Their parents drive them everywhere. Their parents are paying their rent. They're living with their parents. What's going to happen when their parents die? Guess who's going to take care of them then? Yeah, that's not an accident. It's going to be the government's going to have to take care of these helpless, worthless people who just can't cope with anything. You yell at them, or you even argue with them, and they start to cry. We're in trouble. Moving on here. What are we doing? We're actually not too far off on